Hey guys, we just want to give you the heads up that this episode is going to be focused on the election and our reactions to the results of the election. And if that's not something you have the capacity to listen to right now, we completely understand. Skip this episode. We'll see you next week. But if you want to come along for this ride with us, there will be tears. There will be, mostly on my part, there will be some information. There'll be some helpful resources. There'll also just be our real, genuine reactions to everything that's going on right now. So stay tuned and stay safe out there. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of You Can Sit With Us. I'm one of your hosts, Becky. I'm joined by Matthew.
Hello.
We got Rainie on the ones and twos.
Hi.
Maggie unfortunately had work today. Otherwise, she would have been here for this episode. But guys, 7 days ago, some bad stuff happened. What happened 7 days ago, Matt?
Well, we got a new president. President-elect. Supposedly. We'll see. Who knows?
Allegedly.
Anything's possible.
Allegedly.
Trump was elected the next president of the United States of America. How does it make you feel, Becky?
Horrible. Terrible. Just awful. I feel like the first time it happened, I was like, man, fuck the Electoral College. This system is bullshit. And now I'm like, wow, people are terrible. People are awful. There's like really nothing he could do or say that would make you not vote for him. Like, I think I said it 4 years ago, saying it again. We're going to have in a history book. We're probably going to have to bleep it from this podcast so we don't get demonetized. But it will literally be in a history book, as will a bunch of other things. Like, what is Trump's blurb going to say? Like, when we read about Abraham Lincoln, when we read about George Washington, all of those. Donald Trump, what was he, 45th president, 47th president of the United States, gave a blowjob to a microphone at a rally, made fun of a disabled reporter, called immigrants rapists and pedophiles, literally was found guilty of sexual assault and
Not
something
good.
like 36 other counts of fraud.
I mean, you got to shorten that.
They gotta shorten it.
They
They
gotta
gotta
shorten that.
simplify it. But I do think it's the closest I've ever felt to, like, when you were reading the history book and you're reading about slavery and you're reading about the Holocaust and you're reading about these horrific world events that happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did they get there?
Yeah.
That's just, how did as a people get, and we're like living it. We are living in 20, 30 years. Kids are going to be reading in a history book and they're going to be like, how did these people allow that?
The collective consciousness.
Yeah.
Yeah. America's a reality TV show now.
A horrible reality TV show. Not even a good reality TV show. We're like truly so embarrassing.
Yes.
Like, it's embarrassing and sad and makes me not like people. And I'm not going to say I liked people to begin with. I would say I was slightly more critical of people, but it really makes me not like people now.
Yeah.
And we were kind of joking about it before the podcast, but like, why do we have to be nice to people who are mean? Why do we have to be nice to people who literally want to take away our fundamental rights? Who want us to literally die? Why do we have to be nice to them? Why do we have to find the common ground? Why do we have to be the bigger person all the time? That's what I struggle with. What do you struggle with, Matt?
I think for me, it's just the sheer fact that like he got every swing state.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So like it was like a complete red wave.
Yeah. Red shift.
Yeah.
Is what
like
they were
total,
calling
it's
it.
like I know we live in an LA bubble.
Yeah.
But like that out of touch or like have too much hope that it would go the other way.
Yeah.
I think that's what I struggle with, is just not having the right gauge
Oh, yeah.
on how the election was going.
Yeah, I feel like
as it was unfolding.
Yeah, in 2016,
Yeah.
we were like, there's no way. This would be crazy. So we were like
Right.
shocked when he won.
Yeah.
And this year it was like we were optimistically hoping that people would be better. And it's almost like having that hope made it worse. And especially because he got those swing states that didn't go for him last time. I will say, in slightly good news, some of those states that did go to Trump, Democratic policies did pass on the lower levels. So like, I think it was in Arizona was one of them. I was listening to John Oliver talk about it. They passed minimum upping the minimum wage. They passed paid sick leave, and they passed
Interesting.
something else. We wrote it down. Where'd it go? Oh, access to abortion. So they either solidified it in their state constitutions or they passed more legislation that was for it. So those were states that still, they didn't vote for the Democratic candidate, but they voted for Democratic parties, which I think is good, but also blows my fucking mind. I'm like, I don't get it. You're going to vote for these, you clearly like Democratic policies. What about Trump makes you think he likes minimum wage workers?
Do you think people just only think about the economy and they see him and they're like, oh, he's business, he's economy, he's going to be better?
100%.
Yeah.
I think that was the deciding factor for most people, but I'm a dumb adult. I'm going to admit, I didn't know what the fuck a tariff was. I didn't know. I had to Google it.
Yeah.
I had to Google it, but it took a couple minutes.
Yeah.
But then I learned what a tariff was and was like, hey, that's not the best for consumers.
No.
So like a 60% tariff sounds pretty bad.
Yes.
Biden didn't make inflation bad.
The everyday
did.
person doesn't know those things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They look to their leader to. So I think it's more frustrating for me to look on the other side and be like, why aren't the people making these campaign choices making better choices? Right? Like Kamala was always talking about like first time home buyer breaks and you know, things that would appeal to like very small groups of people instead of policies that would kind of impact everyone. And it's harder when, you know, to target something for everyone. So that's why I think a lot of the things that Trump says really works when he's like, oh, tariffs we're going to do. Oh, we're not going to, you know, tax on tips. Like everyone can see how that can impact their lives, right?
Yeah.
Where first time home buyer already have a home. You know, it's like automatically disqualifies them. And for most voters, if something isn't going to impact your life that much, you're not going to care as much, especially if you're feeling the pain of or the burden of, you know, not making enough money or not being able to make ends meet or living paycheck to paycheck. But at the other side, it's like, if we know that, then why aren't we marketing these things to the broader, you know, masses of people?
Yeah.
Right. It's like, if we know this is how people think, if we know this is what's important, like it literally in every single election ever, then why aren't we changing the messaging for that?
Yeah, I think it's frustrating that we keep having the same debates every 4 years. It's the exact same debates.
Right.
And like, I was so excited. I turned 18 in an election year. I was lit on voting for Obama. I was so excited. I was like, let's fucking go. When he won, we went to Taco Bell in Keith's like horrific old minivan. Like,
Right.
we were so excited. And every election after that, I've begrudgingly voted. You know what I mean? Like, I've been not thrilled to vote for whoever the candidate was. And I think something that the Democrats in general did wrong, very wrong this election. Joe Biden said he was going to be a one-term president. He promised.
Yeah.
He promised. I get it. We can break election promises for the greater good. That was not for the greater good. That was ego, and that's in politics, but that's not the greater good. Kamala didn't have enough time to make as much progress as she could have made had she always been the front runner, had Biden never gone to that first debate.
Well, also there wasn't a primary. And the last time a woman lost, there also was not a primary. So I think that speaks a lot too.
And there was a primary. It was
Very
just it was just
It was like impossible to win.
an appointment, essentially. But
Mm-hmm.
there was a showcase at least. Because I think that the no primary was, I'm still mad about that.
Right.
Yeah.
But also, it's like there was no time, and she didn't have enough time as it was. If we were going to do a primary, then the election, like the elect, wouldn't have any time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really, Joe Biden, really, really wish he had stepped down.
Really wish that had been the way. He does still have time to make some changes.
Truth.
He can appoint some people, which would be good. I also think, look, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was lit. She was a lit person. She did a lot for people.
Yes.
What she did incredibly
Amazing
wrong was not retiring when she should have.
Yeah.
And that is how we got a Supreme Court. That's how we got fucking Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah.
That's how we got literally another rapist in the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She should have
That's true.
retired. And there are other judges. Why are people so old?
That's what I'm like about. Can there
I'm
be term
ageist
limits?
now. I'm ageist. I've
Can there be
decided.
term limits on things?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There should be. Why are they like 80? I think Clarence
Yeah.
Thomas is like 80.
And it's also, don't you want to retire?
But
Aren't
also,
you tired?
Don't you want to hang out?
Tired?
don't you wanna have a
go
life?
Hang out in
I mean,
Florida?
he kind of
Yeah.
is, doing stuff. But
That's true.
it's also like if you're that age, how in touch you're going to be with the culture of today,
100%.
right? Like he's making decisions that he thinks are correct and maybe were correct for his time,
Yeah.
in his prime, but is not going to impact the people of today the right way.
Yeah.
That's what I think the disconnect is, or where it comes from.
Yeah. It's almost like when Justin Bieber, for example, all things go back to J Biebs. He became famous so young. His brain
True.
did not have time to
True.
develop.
Mhm.
He was influenced by so many bad things.
Mm.
It's a wonder he made it out.
Mhm.
And he is the way he is. But like old ass justices like that, I'm like, you've been there too long. You've been staring at the books for too long. You need to go outside, touch grass. You're too close. You need to back it up. And I think
Yeah.
we saw that too, like when TikTok was being debated, when they were doing the inquiries and things like that.
Yeah.
The people that were asking the questions had
Oh.
and same with
It
Facebook.
was hilarious.
It was
also
hilarious,
bad.
hilarious but sad.
Yeah.
People had no base knowledge of how technology works,
Yeah.
how intellectual property works, how data management works,
How Wi-Fi.
how
what Wi-Fi is.
Wi-Fi is. And that's how I feel about these old justices. And I'm sorry if you're old and you're listening to us and you think I'm talking about you. But you know what? If you're old and you're listening to us, you were probably one of the people that voted for Kamala Harris.
Because she's going to protect social programs, which older and younger people need. Yeah.
She's not going to do things like cut the Department of Education.
That'd be
The whole department. The whole department.
It's dark.
It's dark.
Cutting the Department of Education, I think I'm like, okay, this is. I mean, I don't think I'm like, can he do it? But I'm also just like, that's so sinister. Like you were saying about
Sinister.
like the history books. It's like, okay, he's using language that's like calling people vermin and talking about mass deportation. And it's like, we've actually unfortunately seen this.
I've heard this somewhere before.
Yeah.
Where can I put my finger on
Yeah.
it? I've heard it.
bad.
When I was educated in a public school, which like I
Right.
say it as like a dark joke now, but when I'm like talking to Henny and I'm like reading a book, I'm like, well, I have to read you a book now because eventually you're not going to know how to read because you're going to not have a school to go to.
It's okay. We'll have like computer chips implanted in our brain that'll just tell us what to do, Becky.
I get, speaking of computer chips, Donald Trump like hates immigrants, absolutely hates them unless they are Nepo baby South African pieces of shit. Elon Musk sucks so bad.
Yeah.
He is one of the worst people I've ever had to read about.
Mhm.
He is evil.
Yeah.
He is evil. Everything
Yeah.
about him is evil.
But Becky, he's going to take us to space.
I want him to go to space so badly. So badly. Elon, I want you go up there. You go up there and you stay there. You stay there. You build your planet on the moon, your little community. Go for it.
Yeah.
Leave us alone. Like he's terrorizing us. He's terrorizing us.
Well, I think the most astonishing thing is like how many people like look up to him and like listen to him.
appalling.
Right?
It's appalling.
Like that's what is kind of shocking.
Yeah. They're like, look at him. He's got all this money. They did the same thing with Trump when he was first coming up.
Yeah.
He's a billionaire. Look at him. He's got all this money.
Becky, are you trying to seed Elon Musk for president? It sounds like what you're trying to make a connection with.
Can he be president? Don't you have to be born in the United
Yeah,
States?
I think you do have to be born.
But he's
And
like,
he's-
yeah.
An immigrant. I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, I do get it. He hates black and brown immigrants.
Yeah.
But
Right.
his literal wife
Mm-hmm.
is an immigrant.
Yeah.
This crazy man, an immigrant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's like so, I think it's just baffling to me. I just like don't understand how people can pick and choose the things that he says and the things that he does
Mm-hmm.
and be like, well, he said this, but he's going to do this. How are you picking and choosing that?
Yeah. I don't know.
It's insane. It's insanity.
Do you remember where you were when Trump was elected in 2016? Like, what were you doing?
Do I ever? It was a moment in time. I don't know if anyone listening right now remembers the BuzzFeed live election night.
Yes.
It was traumatic. Keith
Yeah.
was there, I think, for the first part of it.
Yeah, Eugene was on it. He was
Yeah.
like being like the Anderson Cooper
And they were like
personality on it.
all in a silly, goofy mood, blah, blah, blah. As time ticks on, people start filing away. People are like, I can't be on camera right now.
Mhm.
So I was at home just watching it
Oh my
unfold.
gosh,
Like,
that's so...
oh, this is not good. And then I remember I emailed work and was like, I'm not coming in tomorrow. And I gave no reason. I was like, I'm not waiting on a bunch of
No.
rich people tomorrow. I can't do it.
Mm-mm. It's the holidays, and I've been doing a lot of my holiday shopping online. Some of my favorite brands like Aloe, Allbirds, and Mattel have had amazing checkout experiences. When you think of a successful business, you think about a great product, a cool brand, brilliant marketing, but you really don't think about the businesses behind that business, making buying for customers like me and you simple and easy. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. They are home of the #1 checkout on the planet, and with Shop Pay, you can boost conversions up to 50%, which means way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going. The holidays are approaching, and your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Aloe, Allbirds, and Mattel use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/sitwithus, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/sitwithus to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/sitwithus.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. There are a lot of people in my life that I want to say thank you to. I want to say thank you to Keith for being such a great partner. Thank you to Henny for being such a good little kid. This month, it's all about gratitude. And along with all the people I just shouted out, there's another person we don't get to thank enough: ourselves. Here's a reminder to send some thanks to the people in your life, including yourself. Here you can sit with us. We absolutely love therapy. It's great to have someone to talk to. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online and designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. You just need to fill out a brief questionnaire and you'll get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. Let the gratitude flow with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/sitwithus today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/sitwithus. I can't do it. Where were you? Were you watching the live stream?
I was not watching a live stream. I had a work conference in Texas, like a training work conference.
Oh, no.
And I remember so specifically because that night they had put up like huge TVs and they were showing like, it was like a huge conference room or a huge like conference center. So on each side of the center, they had two different TV groupings and one was showing Fox News and one was showing CNN. So you could go back and forth and see like what each was saying throughout the evening. And there was, lots of drinks. People were having like appetizers passed around. They're trying to make it kind of like a party thing. But it's like work, so they're not going to be like endorsing candidates really, But then like people were definitely upset.
Yeah.
And the people definitely got inebriated throughout the evening.
Sure.
As things were looking worse and worse.
I'm sure.
And lots of like debates going on and stuff. So, but it also felt different because it was like kind of like a healthy look at, our healthy conversations about what's going on in our country and like why this is happening and the disconnects, of how, a candidate, an unprecedented candidate like this could win, right? So this time it felt different. Eugene and I were just like on the couch watching TV and he was like glued in, like obsessing. And I was like, we need to like not for a while. So we seem to put on like a nice, Bob's Burgers episode, just like relax. Don't want to get too stressed out.
Yeah.
And then I was like checking on the phone, like the speedometer of like most likely who's going to win. So once I saw it get to 90% Trump, I was like, we got to go to bed.
That's what we did too.
I was like, we got to go to bed.
We
It's
put on a
90%, we got to go to
movie.
bed. This is like.
We put on a movie. Keith was like, there's nothing we can do right now. It probably won't be called for a few days. The swing states are going to make a difference. So let's just not look at it tonight. And before we went to bed, we looked at it and I was like, this does not seem very good. And he's like, but it's okay. There's still time. And then he woke up before me and he picked up his phone and he just went, oh no. And I was like, no, he didn't. He didn't. And he's like, yeah, he did. Because we wake up at 6:30ish for Henny. So it was like right before they called it for him. And I was like, no. Because I think what's disheartening is, that first time it was very much like this juggernaut of like, how did this happen? Like, how did we get here? Could he really be as bad as we think he's going to be? But now we actually have like statistics that like he is actually really bad and like somehow has influence and power and can make really bad policies happen, by appointing those 2 Supreme Court justices that really
that are going to be people's lifetime now. People are there for, like they'll be there until we're really old.
Yeah.
And if he can appoint more people, it's going to be even more until we're really old, It's going to like be 2 generations worth of Supreme Court rulings.
Yeah. Where like, what we're seeing is like we saw him overturn Roe v. Wade. That was one of his promises, is that he was going to bring abortion back to the states, which is like out of control. Like if Oklahoma was like, I want to bring back slavery, and everyone said yes, the United States government would be like, actually, no, we're not doing that. Right. So like, no, the states do not have all the control in the world. The federal government does. But there was a statistic that I saw that was absolutely wild. It was on the CDC. It said, according to the CDC, maternal death rates in Texas rose 61% from 2019 as compared to the national average of 8%.
That's horrible. Also, that's a key indicator that like the WHO uses for health systems in general. Like that's the first intervention that people do when they go to help health systems around the world in developing countries. So the fact that we're like maternal death rates. Yeah, maternal health. So the fact that we're regressing in that area is horrible.
Yeah. It's also like people are dying. Like a maternal death rate means more people are dying. I'm just like, I don't understand why people aren't freaking out about that. It's like people are like for real dying. Like I know people who've died in childbirth. Yeah. And like that is horrible. Like
absolutely.
In a country where we claim we have the best healthcare, we have the best everything. And I want to get the statistic right because I don't want to be lying. But Black women have a much higher death rate. It's 49.5 deaths per 100,000 live births.
Wow.
So, and there are 19 for white women.
That's
so 49 to 19.
Yeah.
Like the amount, especially the amount of deaths that we're seeing coming out of these states that are passing 6-week abortion bans, which remember, if you've never been pregnant before, you find out you pee on a stick.
Right.
If you pee on that stick 1 or 2 days too early, it will say you're not pregnant. So you have to wait until you've missed your period for a full week. When you pee on that stick, you're 5 weeks pregnant.
Oh my God.
Typically, you're 5 to 6 weeks pregnant when it says that you're pregnant. So if you're taking away people's choice there, you're not just taking away their choice, you're taking away people who want to have kids.
That's true.
And something's wrong. Like when they talk, it like disgusts me when people talk about abortions at 9 months. So like Democrats and the woke liberals want abortions at 9 months. It's like, nobody wants that. You're talking about the 1% of abortions that happen that ruin people's lives.
Yeah.
Right.
That are like, these people have had baby showers. They've had names picked out for their kids. Like that's not something.
The baby, yeah.
They want that baby. And so it's like disgusting that's being used against people.
Well, it's also just going to make more people not want to have kids in general. Right?
Oh,
We're
yeah.
already having falling birth rates and stuff. Like people already don't want kids as much as they used to.
Yeah.
It's just going to force that more that way.
Yeah. And they always say like, you can restrict access to abortions, but you're not going to stop abortions. You're going to stop safe abortions.
Right. Exactly.
And then for those people that like do want children, very routine things in pregnancy can lead to death. Like the stories that we're hearing are very similar to like when I went to the emergency room. Like your water breaks dangerously early. If I'd been turned away from a hospital and had to drive from hospital to hospital to hospital, if I had to cross state lines to get help, you're going to bleed out at some point.
Right.
Like that's what happens. These people are bleeding out in their cars. They're getting sepsis. They're dying. They're being forced to carry babies that are not alive, babies that they very much wanted.
Right.
And there was this one Instagram thing I saw where this woman was talking about in Louisiana, and she said it was like at 12 weeks or at like 11 weeks, she had a lot of bleeding. She went to the hospital. They told her to take some Tylenol because there was nothing they could do for her. She had to carry that unborn fetus for 2 months.
Oh my God.
And she said, I was waiting to birth my baby to bury my baby.
That's horrible.
And that
Ugh.
like makes me want to vomit.
That'd be so hard.
Horrific.
Yeah.
Like it's just, I don't get it. I don't get this obsession that like Republicans and especially these like extreme MAGA people have over women's bodies specifically, but over like anyone's bodies. Like this conversation around like girl sports need to stay with females. I'm like, how many trans athletes are running around in this world right now?
Yeah.
That's your number one thing. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. Stop worrying about the genitalia of teenagers.
Yeah.
Well, it's also
That's weird.
Why do you care what bathroom someone uses? Nothing's happening in the bathroom, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just make every bathroom a non-gender bathroom.
It would be so
in
much
Europe,
easier.
that's how most of them are. Anyway.
That's what your bathroom in your house is. The bathroom in your home is a non-gendered bathroom.
Truth.
Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Why is this the most pressing thing? But honestly, it wasn't the most pressing thing. Like the overwhelming majority of people who said why they voted for Trump was the economy. And it just seems like a severe misunderstanding of what's about to happen.
Yeah.
Especially with the tariffs.
Right. Well, I think the other thing that's scary is just like the potential of rollback of other civil rights and liberties, right? So like think about discrimination in the workplace or not being able to get a job because you're a woman and they think you're going to get pregnant, or because you're gay or you're trans or you're, Black or you're Latino or something, right? They could that's a real possibility that they could use those things to fire you. They could use those things not to hire you. They could use those things to pay you different rates at work. And then also refusal to serve you.
Yeah.
Right. So now they're giving people the right to refuse service like at restaurants.
Yeah.
And like how long do you think it would take before they could do that at hospitals?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Right? We're refusing care for people based on their race or their ethnicity or their sexual orientation. Yeah. So that's scary.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, there's already cases going to the Supreme Court about different medications that insurance will pay for.
Yeah.
So PrEP is a big one that a lot of LGBT people use in order to prevent HIV exposure. So there's a man who doesn't want to pay through his insurance. He doesn't want his money that he's paying insurance to then, he doesn't want the money that he's paying for his insurance to pay for that for other people.
Oh my God.
Right? So just
dumb.
think about
That's
the implications
so dumb.
that could have, right? It's like if someone's a smoker, then you don't want to do like smoking interventions for them. If someone has diabetes, you don't want to do diabetes interventions for them. So it's just opening like a whole can of worms that is the opposite of what insurance is for. Like that's why you do that, because something might happen to you one day that's really horrible.
Yeah.
Right. So you're covering kind of everything for everyone. So things like that are like really targeting just one subgroup of people. Like for this, it was using PrEP, which not only LGBT people use it, a lot of people use it.
Yeah.
Could have like ripple effects throughout, different groups or different minority groups of people.
I just don't get this need to be like, well, my life isn't perfect, so I'm going to fuck up everyone else's lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's also just you deciding what medicine somebody else needs and what you want to pay your insurance for. It's like you're not a doctor.
Yeah.
Period. Like you just actually didn't go to medicine school.
Yeah.
Medicine school.
I did like that one.
Well, it's also like if that
school.
person were to get cancer one day, then it's like, why do you deserve those cancer medications? It's kind of it's kind of like, why do they get to choose the medications for someone else when they might need other medications?
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of including one without the other with no real basis. Why?
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Yeah. But also going to your point about, or what I thought you were going to about was about the culture. And like, I feel like I already am seeing Trump signs in LA or like, and there's this tweet that has like started going viral of like, your body, my choice.
That's horrible. Yeah.
Nick Fuentes. Bring back bullying. That's what I say. I'm glad that man was doxxed. I don't give a shit. Go run to your mommy's house. I'm glad everyone knows where you live because you're a piece of shit.
It's definitely emboldening people, right? Like, like choices that they probably would not have made before, or they would have like self-policed out. They're now making those choices, like the sign that he put up, right?
Yeah.
Like if Trump hadn't won, like would he have put that up? Or if Trump was even up for election again, would he have put that up?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Right.
Yeah.
But now that people like feel emboldened that it's okay for them to speak like that and talk like that and treat other people like that.
Yeah.
They're coming out of the woodwork.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. I think they were always there, but like you said, they were self-policing and they were socially aware enough. Like, that's not an okay thing to say.
Right.
Right.
But now it's like, well, you know, I don't want to ever hear that a rape accusation ruins a man's life ever again.
Oh my God.
Ever again. Because he's a president. So like
that's I think
it like baffles me.
Yeah.
And like so I think people have been thinking these things.
Yeah.
And they at least kept it to themselves, but literally having a rapist as a president told them, "Hey, you can kind of say whatever you want. It's totally fine."
Yeah.
Totally fine.
To me, it was such a showing of like rape isn't really illegal. Like, it's not even really morally bad in America. Like, that's what it felt like. I mean, obviously it is technically.
Yes. Yeah,
but it's like, we as a people were like, endorsed it. We're like, no, that's fine. He can have the highest office. And I'm like, wait, that is illegal. Like, why are we not, like, he should be in jail. And it just is like such a brushing off of that crime. And and to me, like, I'm like, oh, it ruins a man's life. I'm like, it can ruin the victim's life. Like, it's like a whole bunch of mental health. I mean, there's like, I mean, I don't want to get too dark, but like I just am like, wow, I guess we don't really care about that.
Well, then I think it's it's really leading to a mental health crisis nationally, right? Because people 100%. Are seeing this type of behavior now. So then they're becoming more like scared. Of life, right? Like of, you know, suicide prevention hotlines are getting a lot more calls. Like people don't want to leave their house as much. Like it's having so many different social effects that no one would really think about an election would have.
Yeah. It's dark. It feels dark. I mean, there are obviously like points of light. Like we were talking about the Democratic policies passing, which shows that like people that are doing the organizing and the grassroots organizing, their effects are people are winning in the margins, and that is really good. And that is something to look forward to. Sometimes it's hard to look at those good things when bad things are overshadowing it. But it's also like they want you to be complacent. Like, period. Donald Trump wants you to not do anything. He wants you to be so immobilized by fear and sadness that he wants you to do nothing. So I think if you're going to be anything, be angry and like let that anger fuel you into donating money if you have the resources to do so to organizations that help. Donate your time if you can volunteer. Like helping out in your community, seeing like what needs to be done literally in your community. Like not a lot is going to help you right now with the federal government. There's not going to be a lot in the next 4 years. That's going to be great federally. But on the state level and like in your local governments, there are things that you can do that can push the envelope a different way.
Just in your local community.
So like that is good.
Right.
That
and
is
I mean,
good.
there's nothing that invigorates people more than a big loss. Too, right? Like it's a horrible thing to say, but that a lot of time enacts a lot of action. It like is a big motivator. So that hopefully in 4 years from now, we'll be stronger as a party, the Democratic Party.
I hope so.
Right?
I hope so.
Or have better tactics or better strategies or...
I need Gen Z run for office. Gen Z run for office, please. Please. Go. You care so much. Like, people want to discredit Gen Z as like lazy and apathetic and like, I don't like the number of young white men that are in that category that voted for Trump. But the rest of you, you're fucking smart. You're tapped in.
Yeah.
You can be the change in our government right now.
I mean,
I want you to be.
Who are you looking for president in 4 years?
Mayor Pete, baby. Mayor Pete. Mayor Pete. I think
my God.
I think he did that Jubilee
I don't know if
video.
they would. Do you think they would elect a gay man in 4 years?
Better than a gay woman doing my bet. I think that'll happen. I think that'll happen before a gay woman.
Before anyone.
I have more hope for that. You know, he's a white man.
That's true.
So he's checking some boxes for other people.
Yeah.
I think he's making a really good push right now. He did that Jubilee video with undecided voters, and he approached it from a place of like empathy and education. And he, as the transportation secretary, we get refunds now when
That's
airlines cancel our flights.
When they fuck up.
He did that.
Yeah.
Pete did that.
Thanks, Pete.
Was his first run for president great? No. Did he back out? Yes. We love that journey for you. If you realize you are unfit for something, don't do it.
Pete. I mean, I feel like someone who's really gunning for it is our governor of California.
Gavin Newsom.
Because he's definitely putting himself or branding himself as kind of the opposite of everything Trumpian that's happening. Like right when they said Trump, won the Electoral College, he like came out with all of this stuff that they're going to combat anything that could come from the federal level to protect rights in California.
Yeah, I do appreciate that he said like you will have you'll have access to health care. Your marriage is going to be valid.
Right.
We're not taking away gay marriage. It is unfortunate that if you cross state lines and you go to Vegas, suddenly you have no rights. I don't love that aspect of life.
Yeah.
But I love that Gavin Newsom did that for his state.
Yeah.
I do kind of think we should leave with the whole state.
Annex.
I mean, we are the 5th largest economy in the world,
Yeah.
A lot happens here.
A lot happens here.
Yeah. But I did watch Fallout, and apparently it's not a good way to happen. I watched Fallout.
Is that the
super
movie with
realistic life?
Yeah. Okay. I think that's Fallout.
Fallout is it's based on a post-apocalyptic video game.
They live in
bunkers.
I was gonna say silos.
Yeah. Silo. Yeah. Silo coming back this week.
I do like Silo.
Silo's coming back. You know what, guys? Bad Sisters.
One can dream.
Silo comes back this week. So if you need to,
love Bad Sisters. Oh my God.
Yeah. So if you need to drown your sorrows in TV, you can do that.
That's true. There's always content to distract yourself with.
There's always content to distract yourself with or educate yourself with. But also, you can feel whatever you want to feel right now.
That's true.
I feel like there was a lot of like rhetoric online, especially of being like, it was either way. It was like you're either so sad that you can't do anything or you're like so angry that's all you can focus on. And I think both of those are valid.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
Yeah.
For a little bit.
Just hopefully it translates into action over time, right? You can't like sit in one for too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we obviously have been keeping our eye on Pete Buttigieg.
Mayor Pete.
He is a ray of light and hope. I also just like how like astute he is. And he's such a good public speaker and debater.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he really just seems so smart.
Yeah. And he seems like he's thought about what he's saying.
Right.
And he believes it.
He believes it.
Is what I think. I think he really believes that he really wants to help people. He said in that little Jubilee video, like, yes, there is a part of politics of people believing in their own ego and wanting to do it for that reason. But like you would hope the majority comes from people who want to make change and see change in the world.
Right.
Same with like people who want to be nurses and doctors and teachers and
to help people.
The helpers. Like there is something innate within them that makes them want to help people.
Those are tough jobs. All those are tough jobs. Teacher, tough job. Nurse, doctor, tough job.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. Are you looking towards anyone else as a ray of hope for our future? I mean, one other that comes to mind is AOC.
Yeah.
Right? She's very active, very outspoken. And have you seen her videos lately?
Oh, yeah.
On TikTok? Like, what is planning? She keeps being like, something big is coming.
She keeps hinting at something.
And I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is
I don't know, but I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah. I think no political candidate will ever be perfect.
No.
But I am excited to take a ride with someone who actually does want to change things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of those people will get us there.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully someone will drive the car, drive the bus. Isn't that what they say? It's like a bus analogy.
Yeah.
You're getting on the bus. You just want to get a couple stops further. With Trump, we're
U-turn.
We U-turn.
U-turn and accelerate.
We U-turn and actually cars don't run on electric or gas anymore. It's diesel.
Yeah.
Cars are running on whatever they ran on.
No.
Horses. Horses are driving the carriages.
If we brought horses back,
Matt,
then maybe the world would be a better place.
Matt, what if you ran?
Bring horses back.
What if you ran?
Horses back. Bring horses back. Bring horses back.
Horse Matt. You'd get my vote.
I mean, it would be crazy because I feel like they have similar things to like cows with like methane and stuff. So I feel like if there's too many horses again.
Oh, Matt is all one step ahead.
He's thinking
it would be a little hard.
But you know what? You're an environmentalist. So you're thinking about those greenhouse gases. You're thinking about that hole in the ozone layer.
But those would probably be less than diesel. I don't know. I don't know the science.
I don't know. Some things that are making us hopeful for the future.
Yes.
As we said earlier, there were states that enshrined access to abortion rights.
Yes.
They were on their ballots. Voters in 7 states, Arizona, Colorado, Maryland, Missouri, Montana, Nevada, and New York, supported amending their state constitutions to protect the fundamental right. What was also crazy, did you see Florida? I should have written that one down. Florida, you needed 60% to
they didn't
pass.
Get the
and they didn't get to 60%.
2/3 majority or whatever.
But they were the majority.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's how they like set up the law, referendum for it or whatever.
Yeah. Mind-boggling. Mind-boggling. For the first time in history, which is crazy, 2 Black women will simultaneously serve on the U.S. Senate.
About time.
We'll have Angela Also-Brooks of Maryland and Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware. Also, Delaware, shout out. They elected their first out transgender member of Congress, Sarah McBride.
Ooh.
We love to see it.
Yeah, representation.
Love it. We also had Democrat Andy Kim. He won his race for New Jersey's U.S. Senate with 53% of the vote. He is set to become the first ever Korean American to take office as a senator.
Oh, wow.
And then, shout out to the gays. California added constitutional protections to same-sex
This is true.
marriage. Woo, 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 woo. Okay, so there are good things.
Yeah,
there are good things that are happening.
It's true.
I saw this TikTok, and I'll link the creator because she was very well spoken. And she was talking about how she's like, the way that our democracy is set up is actually pretty strong. So like it's
true.
So she gave this example of the drinking age. The federal government lowered the drinking age to 18. Then a bunch of young people were dying. So the federal government was like, okay, we're going to raise it back to 21. Most states were fine with it. But like a few Midwestern states were like, no. And the federal government was like...
It was like Wisconsin or Michigan. You could drink when you were 18. Yeah. Even when I was younger.
Oh, well, yeah. And so the federal government was like, all right, well, we're going to slash your budget. And so... So then eventually they were like, okay, it's not worth it. But what's interesting is you're seeing now in certain states, people are reallocating, like people in state government, and this is why like state government down ballot voting is really important. They're reallocating funds to protect, like into reproductive health care or into healthcare. So like they're protecting. So if the federal government slashes their budget for healthcare, it's like, that's okay. We've got it.
We prepared for this.
So there are, I think, a lot of people who are really in. I also saw another. I've been on TikTok a lot, but
oh, Rainie, we all have.
Oh man,
oh Rainie, we all have.
There's this woman who was like, yeah, in 2016, the thing is like I was in college. I now have a law degree and I'm a civil rights attorney. So like it is different because now I'm taking these cases to
ooh, gave me chills.
Right?
Yes.
And I feel like that's like I'm also like there's so many people who have been doing a lot of work to prepare, and it's like
true.
And I'm very inspired by that. Like I was really down, and then Aiko like emailed me and was like, let's do a fake pod about women in like do an episode about like being a woman in America right now. And I was like, okay, yeah, there's like these people who are like ready who want to do something, and it's like it's not just over. So that is very inspiring to me.
I mean, it's just good to get the word out. Like you know, you were saying you were down, and that makes you very hopeful by seeing all the videos of people talking about that. So I think that is like a very positive, powerful thing about social media. Especially at times like this, but then there's also the flip side of it.
Oh yeah,
of the disinformation,
right? Because it's like the disinformation, but also it's like you're getting served these things where someone else is getting served other content, right? So it's
that's
like,
what's really freaky.
We're only seeing part of the whole sphere.
Yeah.
Hey, you can sit with us, listeners. You all know I love Etsy. They have so many cool things, and this year, Etsy really knows what kind of holiday gifting reactions you're looking for. You want squeals of delight, happy tears, and spontaneously written songs of joy, right? The kind of love you can only get when a gift is truly thoughtful and perfect for that person. Well, to get those reactions, you need to make sure everyone on your list feels heard with handmade, handpicked, and designed gifts from small shops on Etsy. Etsy makes it so simple to find original items that will make whoever you're shopping for feel extra special. Shop Etsy this holiday season for personalized jewelry, custom artwork, cozy style items, vintage pieces, and home decor to celebrate all of your favorite people and their specific kind of special. For original gifts that say, I get you, Etsy has it.
And we've talked about this a little bit before of like both like you were like, okay, wait, the read was totally off. Like I thought that the election was going to take a week and it took a night. And like with Bernie Sanders, it's like everybody in my circle is like, let's go Bernie Sanders. But it's like, oh yeah, this isn't. And I think that TikTok or just social media and we are sort of on the new frontier of social media of like, we don't really know. We don't really have a grasp on it. We don't really have that many laws about it. Like it's like kind of just the Wild West of the internet. And so you're seeing these sort of repercussions of like, it's kind of like drawing us apart while it's also bringing us together. So
exactly. Yeah.
We'll see how it pans out.
Yeah.
After a few years, but of just the internet, like how we sort of started addressing it.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even know the word disinformation before. Was it a word? Before like 2016? Like, or was it one of those things that we made up to like, like explain what was happening? Because like Elon Musk paid for so many like wrong ads. And like we saw it back in the 2016 election where on Facebook ads that were, and it wasn't just the 2016 election, it was globally, other elections were impacted by ads being taken out and that were specifically targeted at communities, specific communities.
Now it's like a tactic. It's a strategy they use.
Which is like very scary. Because it's like,
it's dirty. It's a dirty tactic.
To mess with the news. And then also, this idea that like the news is lying to you. Which like
conspiracy,
yes, the news is a business. The news needs to make money,
right?
But also like people need to get information somewhere.
They also you would hope that the news would have verified sources. Primary sources. It's not just coming out of the dark web. That's what you're hopefully paying for is them having those sources, having the correct information, not just feeding you the information you want to know,
right?
Yeah.
Or that you want to hear.
Yeah.
But in real life, there's also lots of organizations that are fighting the fight, Like we're a big supporter of the Trevor Project. Done a lot of fundraising and stuff for them in the past. So they're great people that are supporting, people that are, it's basically a suicide prevention hotline that people can call into, especially LGBT youth. In times when they're feeling not great about the world. Also the ACLU for civil liberties, to help fight for anybody, any type of minority group that's having issues, right? They've literally represented people on all sides of, Democrats, Republicans, everyone in between.
Yeah.
They've been doing amazing work.
Yeah. Things like Trump saying that we're going to bring back praying in school. He obviously doesn't mean praying like with the Quran or the Torah.
Right.
He means with the Christian Bible. The ACLU is going to fight against that, as they have in other schools. I have to double check with Keith, but I'm 90% sure his school was sued by the ACLU.
Wow.
Because they prayed. And Keith was like, yeah, in high school, I they had us pray before like football games and like big sporting events at a public school.
Wow.
In Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
So like, no.
Separation of church and state for a reason.
Yeah. But the ACLU will protect your civil liberties in that way as well.
Right.
I also have a group that is near and dear to my heart because it's my brother-in-law's partner's group. She started it. She's one of the co-founders. She's an immigration lawyer.
Amazing work. Yes.
They're doing phenomenal work in the Galveston, Houston area. Her organization's called GERP. GERP is the Galveston, Houston Immigration Representation Organization. They believe that immigrant defense not only impacts the individual client, but also builds a stronger, more inclusive community. They provide immigration legal services. They give immigrants the tools that they need to achieve independence and active engagement in their community. Everything is like very centered on like client-based litigation. So they're giving them the tools. She's bilingual as well. So like they're providing services to people who would otherwise have a hard time getting those services.
Like wouldn't have a lawyer.
Wouldn't have a way to communicate with their lawyer.
Right.
So basically they represent people and give them, they focus on family-based immigration support. It includes representation of children and adults in immigration detention and in their community facing deportation, representation for survivors of crime and human trafficking, and general immigration services intended to catch anyone coming in the door. I asked her and one of her other founders, like, what their sort of personal thoughts on everything was. Like, how do they feel? Chicky is one of her co-founders. And she said, I don't know what the next 4 years will look like, but I am certain that immigrant rights and fundamental due processes will be challenged immediately and repeatedly. We'll relentlessly fight for immigrant justice and protection in the United States. Immigrant advocacy is more powerful now than ever. We'll be fearless in our advocacy, and I am certain that kindness and compassion will prevail. And then Liz, my brother-in-law's partner, said, I'm less certain that kindness and compassion will prevail, but we'll fight as hard as we can for our clients. And we have the tools to pursue all legal avenues to try and ensure our clients are protected and have fair opportunity to stay in the United States. Our clients are already asking us what to do about the mass deportations they're hearing about. Even those who have won relief already in the United States and have status are terrified that they or their families will be picked up and deported. It's heartbreaking to see the fear. It's so sad. It's heartbreaking to see the fear among our clients, staff, and community, but we're prepared to meet this challenge head on. I mean, these are like smart people, right? Like these are the people that we need to be looking to, and it's just sad.
Yeah, it's
like
tough.
Literally yesterday, hearing like the head of ICE saying like the way you keep families together when during deportation is to deport a whole family, and it's like,
that's horrible.
What are you talking about?
Well, it's like not treating people as people.
Yeah.
Right? Which is like the worst part is like putting them in detention center is like an animal shelter.
Yeah.
You know?
It's dehumanizing.
Exactly.
And it's like, whatever happened to the give me your poor, you're hungry, like you're starving. Like, isn't that the whole? We're literally a country founded on immigrants.
We're all immigrants.
Yeah. We're all here because of immigrants. I'm not native.
Well, also, we're not a sustainable model, right? Like our sustainable model is we grow because we have a lot of immigration, right? Like that's how our country is growing, and our economy grows and all that. So by stopping that, you're stopping all the undergrowth and everything that's happening in the U.S.
Yeah, progress. We want progress.
Yeah,
we don't want to go back. But if you're in Texas, hit up GERP. Hit up GERP. They take donations. They do fundraisers all the time. So check them out if you want to learn more. Also, if you're like looking for work, hey, you a paralegal out there? You a lawyer out there that wants to work in immigration? Hit them up. They're a great place to work for. The great founders. I will vouch.
Very passionate.
I will vouch. They're very passionate and they're smart.
Yes.
My sister-in-law is like one of the smartest people I know. And she takes no shit, which is why she's a great lawyer. Other places you can donate to, obviously Planned Parenthood, and then the National Network for Abortion Funds. They're kind of doing what you were talking about, Rainie, is they take donations and then they allocate that money to states that and communities that don't have those funds to have access to safe abortion care.
Yeah.
So if you have money or time, you can donate time.
Yeah.
That's a thing you can donate. You can also donate money.
Yeah.
And a lot of things you can donate time from home. Like they want you to fill out things. They want you You can volunteer online for things, helping them do stuff. Like you don't have to be in person at these places. There's so many different opportunities and ways to contribute.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Give us something good, Matt. Give us a happiness.
A happiness.
Give us a happiness.
There's always hope, right? And the one thing that always changes is change. There's always change happening. There's always something changing. So change is change, Becky.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first.
Change is change.
Change is change.
No, change is the only constant, you know? So things are always changing. Like what happened yesterday, it's going to be different tomorrow, you know? And especially with how the first administration went and how so many things kind of, you know, ping-ponged back and forth, we never know what's going to happen. So I feel like it's not helpful to be totally defeatist. I think it's more helpful to be hopeful and see where you can put your energies to help enact change in the positive direction. Right?
I love that. Where you can put your energy.
Yeah.
Because again, they want us to not do anything. So the biggest middle finger we can give them is by not only doing something, but changing things.
Right.
So links to all the organizations that we mentioned earlier are going to be in the description. So feel free to click on any of those if you want to learn more or if you want to donate. But until next time, well, actually pause. We want to let you guys know we do film these episodes in sort of a block shooting schedule. So we have filmed a lot of podcasts that will be coming out through the end of this year that are of a silly, goofy mood. And they were filmed before. We obviously had a caveat on last week's just to give you a heads up. We're not going to do that on every episode. But we just wanted to let you know that sometimes you will be listening to a Becky, a Matt, or a Maggie that was prior to the election. Obviously, in the new year, we're going to be more up to date with our filming, but that's just where we are right now. We just want to let you know, as a heads up, we were different back then.
It was a different Becky.
It was a different Becky, Matt. Different Matt, different Maggie. But until next time, make sure you're washing your hands. Make sure you're peeing after sex. Make sure you're being nice to yourself. Make sure you're being nice to others. Make sure you're having discussions in your family and in your communities about everything. Just talk.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Be the change you want to see in the world because we're proud of you. We're excited for you. We're going to be here with you. So let's do this together, guys.
Exactly.
Bye.
Bye.